right, so something a lot of people aren't putting up there. We want to paint a very racist picture, don't we? Where every crime committed against a black person must be racist. Every single time it must be because of race. If a police officer does something bad to somebody else, it must be okay because they're white or because they're not black. That's a very racist narrative. Sean, we're trying to change things for the better for black folks. Well, I'm not. I'm not. I'm trying to make it better for all of us. And selling a racist narrative is not going to do that. Pretending that the other victims can't be victims because they're not black. That's pretty fucked up. Now, Cintoya Brown, the hell that she went through, she should not have had to go through. Just like the hell that I've gone through, I should not have had to go through. Of course, I'm still going through it. Then again, she might be as well. One of the things that I found the most insulting is that after this woman's gone through this hell of the sex trade in the United States, well, I got a lot of emotions about this. I really do. Cintoya Brown, by the way, has been free since October 15th of last year. And when I started typing her name up last night, the first thing that it comes up with is her net worth. Between $100,000 and $2 million is her net worth. Wouldn't it be nice if all of the victims of that were worth something? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if, after all that she'd gone through and been through, that her price was not up there as the very first thing you see? People want to make a comparison between her and a rapist who got off easy. People say it's because he's white. No, that kid come from a rich family. He could hire a lawyer. And of course, being as he comes from a rich family, no, the cops are not going to have the balls to stand up to him. They're not. They're afraid of people with money. Imagine that. Now, then there's situations where we've got rich black kids who are playing like it was a race thing. Here's a rich black kid, Zayd Atkinson, who wants to dress like a hobo, wants to do his hair up like a hobo, specifically and intentionally looks homeless. And why was he targeted? He was targeted for looking homeless. Oh, this is a racist thing. Bullshit. It's not a racist thing if they do it to white homeless people. If they were just doing it to black people, then yes, I could say, yeah, that's racist. But the police aren't just doing it to black people. If Zayd Atkinson had been wearing a CU football jersey, them cops wouldn't have fucked with him. Because CU football is more important than anything else. Y'all ever seen or remember the Titans? You know how there's a bunch of racists in town, but And kids win some football games, and all of a sudden the racists love them. It don't look like that in fucking real life. It don't. There are lots of situations where people are victimized from assumed poverty. That includes black folks. Those officers took it the way Zaid Atkinson took a look at what Zaid Atkinson was wearing and decided they were going to be racist pricks? No. No. Where at any point on any of that video did we hear any racial slurs? Anything at all that could indicate that he was targeted for the color of his skin? There is absolutely nothing except for the color of his skin. Let's just assume that because of the color of his skin that he was victimized. Fuck that. And then there's these people who want to say, oh, well, Sean, he was still victimized. It's just as wrong. That's exactly my fucking point. Except that you tell me to shut up because I'm fucking white. No, what they did was wrong regardless of my color of skin. Just as what they did to Zaid Atkinson was just as wrong. The people want to post up this stuff about Cintoya don't even know who the fuck she is. They just saw it on Facebook and decided to share. They didn't bother with getting into the situation and finding out what the fuck is going on. How many of these folks actually know that she was released? I didn't know she was released until yesterday. Now, I followed her case for a couple of years there. Why just a couple? Well, because I ended up in my own brand of hell, being victimized by the police nationwide. I didn't just get harassed by police nationwide. I recorded the situations that I could. When you're in jail, they don't let you record. They're not going to let you have a fucking camera to record that shit. So you just have to fucking take it. But on the outs, yeah, I took plenty. Police were not interested in looking at any evidence. They were interested only in omitting it. Having to go to a crooked fucking sheriff who has proven time and again that he is crooked and is going to stay crooked and doesn't give a fuck, and having to go to his department. Oh, well, I'm new here, so I couldn't when I was a kid, it wasn't just adults who molested me, it was also some of the older children. Children who were bigger than me, who could force their will. But then again, if only one side is allowed to be shown, then our courts are fucked. And that's the situation that we're dealing with. Train. Now, another thing to make mention of is Cintoya Brown is pretty. A lot of y'all want to keep on saying this person's good looking, and that person's good looking, and this person's good looking, and that person's good looking. Well, did Cintoya Brown get special treatment because she's good looking? Partially. If she'd have been ugly as sin, most of y'all wouldn't have given two shits about her. You've shown that with the cases of other people who aren't as pretty. America doesn't give a fuck about right and wrong. Americans give a fuck about what they can get away with. and who they can get away with doing it to. Now, there's a lot of racism in this world. I get to deal with it right here in this very town. You got no idea how many times I've had people yell the words, well, N-word lover, at me repeatedly. Well, I'll take it. I'll put it right here for everyone to see. There are a lot of situations that are racist. So many that we don't need to make shit up. Well, we got people saying, well, look at this situation between Cintoya Brown and this white kid, whose name I'm not even going to mention, who didn't have to serve a day in jail after being a rapist, raping a woman. Then again, we also know that that happens frequently, don't we? I mean, we got situations with, like Teresa Massilia, who was raped in Boulder. She fought off her attacker and was charged with assault. Her rapist was never charged. Of course, he's also friends with the cops. And then we got the case of Christine Kelly, who was also raped in Boulder. But when she went, turned in her attacker, who was also obviously friends with the police, she was charged with making a false report because obviously it couldn't have been rape in the police's minds because she didn't fight back hard enough. So there's no win situation here. No win. And then we have all this hatred towards men and towards whites that has been perpetuated for about the last 25 years. White people, white people, white people, white people. Hate all white people. White people are the enemy. White. Bitch, shut the fuck up. There are millions of victims of this shit in America who are white. While you want to play like this only happens to black people, or like many of these situations only happen because you're black. Whereas upon careful you realize that really it's got less to do with black and more to do with money. Was I railroaded because I'm black? No. I was railroaded because I stood the fuck up and I didn't have any fucking backup. I didn't have anyone in my fucking corner fighting for my fucking rights. Meanwhile, Cintoya Brown is allowed to fight for her rights. I'm not. When someone says, oh, he's mentally ill, and that magically makes all of their crimes okay. Magically, I must be wrong. Magically, it must be okay to drive miles and miles and miles specifically to come harass me and threaten me. But that's okay because I'm white. It must be all right. Bud. No, I'm not your bitch. When there are situations where people are killed, I don't care what color they are. What I care about is that they're fucking dead. When the police kill someone, whether it's a white guy going to see you named Demetrius Shankling or Tibor Hatay, who the police used clear view to kill the man. Now, did they intend to kill the man? That doesn't fucking matter. He's still dead. They still broke the law. Now you want to talk about comparison. You only want to compare the shit that fits your narrative. A lot of people are like, why you bring up Zayd Atkinson? Well, for good reason. The same reason that I bring up all these other white people and Native American people and immigrants who are going through the same shit, but they don't have the benefit of being black. They don't have the benefit of Black Lives Matters giving a shit. And we got lots of fucking racist white assholes who want to pretend this shit too. Who want to tell white people who have gone through this, oh no, you didn't go through this, you couldn't have, you're the wrong color. Fuck you. This could never happen to fucking tell me how much full of shit I am. This shit does happen to boys. It happens to grown-ass men. Meanwhile, I can't even talk about the white people going through this, or I get called a racist. Called a racist for saying there are white people going through this too. Fuck your racist bullshit. Fuck your racist narrative. At this point, it's the bitches who want to run around calling people racist who are being the most fucking racist. You want to pretend that the case of Cintoya Brown makes many of these women who have done wrong shit okay? Women who have destroyed men's lives with slander, resulting in those men being physically, mentally, financially abused, and even murdered in some cases? Because you can't stay off the drugs, but you want your kids, you're going to pretend like your husband did something he didn't? How many times does that fucking happen? Why is it that you didn't bring that up ahead of time? Why is it that you didn't take that to the police? But now, when you're strung out on your fucking drugs and your ex is clean and he can take the kids, you want to pretend like he's some sort of a monster because you want your kids. You want him to hurt for leaving you. Then we got women who throw their pussies, shoot their pussies out of cannon. You don't like the accent? You don't like the words? That's fine. That is fine. Do you know why? Because I get to read that shit from women all the time. And men all the time. How we can't use medical terms. Hell, my dad can't say penis or vagina without laughing. So he says tallywhacker and watu. And he wants to talk about being mature and being responsible. Meanwhile, he's only got what he's got because of 2 ex-wives and a current one. Dead fly. We'll start. Let's see. This one probably still has matches in. Fuck it. We'll put them in the same box. I'll dump it later. Now, first of all, those of you fucking filthy goddamn snatch rags who want to pretend that I'm racist because I point out that it happens to others. Fuck you. You're the racist one. You are the racist one. You're the one who wants to pretend that this could never happen to a white person. Well, that just shows how fucking pampered you are. How sheltered you are. And if you're that sheltered, it doesn't matter what fucking color you are. You're fucking sheltered and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Another dead fly. Meanwhile, I get to hear about whites. And I say, hey, there's kids being abused for the color of their skin by black people. Large groups of black people. How many times just in the last week have we seen groups of black people beating on not white adults, but white children? Clapping their hands and celebrating. Yeah, look at that. Look at those 8 black folks over there slapping that fucking little boy on the fucking bench there in the park. Look at that. And what does he do? All he does is cover up. He's up there being racist. And then there's that girl who's waiting on the bus. And she got a bunch of black girls coming up and punching her in the face. You know, I grew up in that fucking system. I grew up getting beaten up because I was not the right goddamn color in the system. I'm not going to pretend that that shit didn't happen just because it doesn't fit your racist narrative. I'm not going to pretend that that little girl deserves that for the color of her skin just because you're an asshole. I'm not going to pretend that that little girl was not smacked around because of the color of her skin. I'm not going to pretend that it didn't happen at all just because she doesn't happen to be the right color for my goddamn narrative. You guys want to go looking at side-by-side comparisons? Dimitri Shankling is fucking dead. He's white. Cintoya Brown is alive. She's not white. So does that mean that Dimitri Shankling was murdered because he's white? These things that are being used to murder people, including black people, that have been done to me, that I've been speaking out about, not just those techniques, but the gets the back of the bus, don't I? It don't fit your racist narrative, so you just won't look at it. That's the difference between you bitches and myself. I'll look it the fuck up. Your fucking opinion is bullshit. What Cintoya Brown went through was fucking bullshit. She should have never had to go through that. But then again, how would you have treated her if she was a white girl? Would Black Lives Matter have cared? Would anybody have actually spoken up for her? That's a tough question, isn't it? Does her family care? Does your family care? Is your family one of them upper middle class white families that is of the opinion that it's not happening to your family, so it must not be happening? I know a lot of poor folks who was racist too, black and white, always at each other's throats over retarded shit. Oh, looks like I got more people on Facebook mentioning me. God damn, I'm popular today, ain't I? There's another woman, not just Cintoya Brown. There's a woman in Colorado, and I'm gonna put this up here. By the way, this woman came down from Canada. I'll see if I can find her name. Human uh, in Colorado. This woman was raped by police officers. She was forced into prostitution. Copy link address. This is for you. And I know a lot of y'all who it doesn't fit your racist narrative. You're not going to watch that. You're not going to read it. You're not going to care. Here's some more. There are a lot of victims of human trafficking. Not all of them are women. Just because you want to sell that narrative doesn't make it true. 1 in 6 boys by the age of 18. Or 1 in 53 boys by the age of 18, depending on which statistic you want to look at. Lovely. I'm not going to stop speaking out. I'm also well aware of the racism. I'm well aware of it. When you've lived through this shit, you can tell the difference between somebody who's being targeted for the color of their skin and somebody who's targeted for looking homeless. There's a lot of people that are too stupid to use their brains, too stupid to look it up for themselves. Most of the men that I know are not men. I read your definitions of what men are. Yeah, I don't know any men by your definitions. Holy shit. If we held women to those standards, y'all would fucking kill yourselves. Why is it the boys kill themselves at 5 times? Boys need to get to the back of the bus. White people need to get to the back of the bus. It's white people's fault. Meanwhile, you ignore all of the shit that happens to poor white people because it doesn't fit the narrative. With Dmitry Shenko, people are like, look, those officers went to fucking prison, didn't they? That's right, they did. And George Floyd, what's happening to his predators? How many of these officers who have murdered black people are actually going to prison for it? A few of them. Quite a few now. Now that we've made progress only for black people on that, why don't we stop pretending that black people are the only people in America? Why don't we stop pretending that they're the only people who are victimized? And why don't we stop pretending that the only thing that anyone is ever victimized over in America is the color of their goddamn skin? Poverty is number one, folks. Poverty. People who are broke are easy to victimize, and everybody in America knows it. If you're Donald Trump, you're just pissing money. You could take it out on the guys who are just millionaires, right? Of course, then you got the millionaires. They take it out on their employees. Most of them don't even run companies. They just invest money in the stocks. For you, you buy one stock. By the end of your life, well, you really haven't made any money. You have to buy massive amounts of stocks to make any money. And a lot of people, when I say, hey, this is fucked up, y'all are going out of your way to ignore all of the broke white people because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. It does not fit. What's happening to proves that it's not just a black thing. All of these Native Americans it's happening to proves it's not just a black thing. All of these immigrants this shit's going through prove that it's not just a black thing. The rights of mine that were violated, that resulted in many people harming me and threatening me and physically abusing me and stealing from me. I gotta shut up about that because I'm not the right goddamn color? Fuck you. I went into the system when I was 4, bitch. What the hell kind of crime could I have committed at 4 years old to get locked up? Oh, well, all these white people are putting this cocaine in our black neighborhoods and destroying our lives. Well, that may be true, but it's not just black people. You know why my mom didn't have custody of me at 4 years old? She couldn't stay off the cocaine. My mother's white. You know why I couldn't live with my dad when I was 4? Because my dad went to prison for cocaine. 38 counts of cocaine possession with intent to sell. According to my dad, he also sold marijuana. According to my Aunt Mary, he did both. Also, according to my dad, he sold an AR-15 to an undercover ATF officer. Yeah, Dad, you deserve prison. You earned that shit. You want me and Eric to feel bad for you? You know, Eric would have never been molested in Colorado Christian home if he'd have had decent parents. I'm not going to follow your racist narrative. I'm not going to pretend that these white folks that this shit's happening to, that it didn't happen, because obviously it could never happen to a white person. I'm not going to pretend that. When somebody is legit targeted because of their race, because of their skin color, I am going to speak up. But if any of y'all want to have an opinion on the Zaid Atkinson situation, who've never been in Boulder and never been homeless, fuck your opinion. You're a bitch. I lived in Boulder. I fought police. I spoke out about the racism in Colorado, especially with the Boulder Police Department, for years before Natalie was killed. But because I was never, ever treated like a human being through that situation by any of the police officers, well, I got railroaded. They were allowed to slander my name to the public and have me physically harmed. The police manipulated the media in order to have me physically harmed, the same way that Natalie Bollinger manipulated a bunch of her druggy friends in order to have an innocent person harmed because she was embarrassed. Fuck your embarrassment. I don't get embarrassed. I'm a lucky bastard. I don't have that particular emotion. That's for those of you who are mentally fucking ill. Why do I say that? Because most of you commit your most heinous crimes because you're fucking embarrassed. You don't want anybody to know. I don't give a fuck if the whole world knows. Matter of fact, I'll tell the whole fucking world. If you're victimized and you get a hold of me, I will tell the world. If you want to get pissed off at me, you keep in mind that I told you I would fucking do so. By the way, I put that particular disclaimer in quite a few of my videos, going way back to the beginning. Before Natalie died, one of my posts was about the fact that I'm gonna speak out. I'm not gonna keep your fucking secrets because it's getting people